My parents bought my brother a new BMW for graduation. While I opened my gift, a bill for their debts, my mom smiled and said, "It's only fair." I packed my things and disappeared. Weeks later, they called panicked. "Please, we didn't mean it." I never thought I'd be the one to cut ties with my family. I always imagined I'd be the dutiful son, the one who'd stick around, help out when needed, and be there for my parents no matter what. But life has a funny way of showing you people's true colors when money is involved. My name is Daniel and I have a twin brother Jason. Growing up, we were always treated a little differently. Jason was the golden child, athletic, popular, the one who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. I, on the other hand, was the quieter one. I preferred books over sports and computers over parties. It wasn't that I resented Jason, I didn't, but I always knew that between the two of us, he was the favorite. Still, I never thought it would come to this. We both graduated from college at the same time. On the same day. It was supposed to be a proud moment for our family. Jason had gone the traditional route studying business while I had taken a different approach. I started working online when I was 16, freelancing and saving every penny I could. By the time we graduated, I had a decent amount of money saved up, not enough to be rich, but enough to be comfortable. The day after graduation, my parents surprised Jason with a brand new luxury car, a sleek black BMW. He was ecstatic, jumping up and down and hugging our parents as if they had just handed him the keys to a mansion. I was happy for him, truly, but I couldn't help but feel a little curious. What about me? I didn't expect a car that wasn't my style. Maybe a watch, a heartfelt letter, even just a "we're proud of you" would have been nice. But when my dad handed me an envelope, I felt a weird pit in my stomach. Inside was a bill. A long list of numbers, amounts and final totals. That left me confused. "What is this?" I asked. My mom smiled as if she'd just given me the best gift in the world. "It's only fair, Daniel, you've been working for years. You've saved up so much. It's time for you to help out the family." My dad nodded. "Jason doesn't have anything saved up yet. He'll need help getting started in life. But you're responsible. You've got money. This is just a small way for you to contribute." I felt my blood run cold. They weren't giving me a gift. They were handing me their debt. They expected me to pay for them while they rewarded Jason with a luxury car, and they actually thought this was fair. I looked at Jason expecting, I don't know, maybe a little guilt or perhaps hey, this isn't right, but he just shrugged and said, "Come on man. You always say you don't care about money." That was when I made my decision. I took a deep breath, folded the paper neatly and slid it back into the envelope. "Thank you for this," I said evenly. "It's a real eye-opener." My mom beamed. "I knew you'd understand." I smiled back then. Packed my bags and left. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just walked out. They didn't try to stop me. I don't think they fully realized what I was doing. Not yet. Anyway, but that would change soon enough. Update. 2 weeks later, I got the first desperate call. I ignored the first call, then the second by the third call. My voicemail was full of messages from my parents, my brother, even my aunt. At first, they were casual. "Hey Daniel, we just wanted to check in. Call us back." Then they became more insistent. "Daniel, why aren't you answering? We need to talk." Finally came desperation. "Please, Daniel. We didn't mean it like that. Just call us back." But I didn't. I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of acting like nothing had happened. For the first time in my life, I was putting myself first. The first week after I left, I stayed at a cheap Airbnb in another city. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet, but knew I wasn't going back. I'd had enough savings to figure things out, but my parents, they weren't as lucky. By the second week, my brother started calling. At first it was all bravado. "Dude, stop being dramatic. Just come back already." So I blocked his number. Then my mom switched tactics. "Daniel sweetheart, we're struggling. You know, we've always supported you. Can't you just help us out a little?" That was rich coming from the woman who had smiled as she handed me a bill instead of congratulations. Then the real panic set in one evening. While checking my email, I saw a message from my dad with the subject line, "Please read this." I hesitated, but curiosity got the best of me. "Daniel, we're in trouble. We took out some loans we can't pay back and thought we could handle it, but things are getting worse. Jason doesn't have the means to help us and we thought you've always been so independent and responsible. We misjudged the situation and for that, I'm sorry, but we need you. Please at least call us back." I stared at the email for a long time. It was the first time they had even come close to admitting they were wrong, but it still wasn't an apology. Not really. They weren't sorry for how they had treated me. They were sorry that I'd left and now their perfect golden child wasn't enough to fix their problems. For years, I'd watched them favor Jason, give him everything, make excuses for him, while expecting me to be responsible. And now when their choices finally caught up to them, who did they turn to? Me, because Jason, the son, they'd spent years prioritizing, wasn't capable of helping them. I closed the email without responding. Then a few days later got the call. That changed everything. It was my aunt and for the first time hesitated before ignoring it, staring at my phone for a moment before deciding to pick up. I didn't know what to expect from her. She wasn't as involved in the drama, but she'd always been somewhat of a peacemaker between me and my parents. "Daniel," her voice was soft. Almost pleading. "Can we talk for a minute?" I sighed. "About what?" "About your parents? They're worried about you." "Yeah," I said, keeping my tone level, "but I think they're a little more worried about themselves right now." There was a long pause, then she said, "Please don't be like this. They made a mistake. They thought you would understand. They didn't mean for things to go this way." I could hear desperation in her voice, but wasn't backing down. Not now, not after everything that had happened. Taking a deep breath, I asked the question that had been swirling in my mind for days. "Why Aunt Karen? Why did they buy Jason a car? If they're struggling, if they're in debt, how is that even possible? How could they think that's okay?" There was another long pause. Then finally, she spoke, but her voice was shaky. "I don't know, Daniel, they thought they could handle it. They always wanted to give Jason the best and figured it would be a good way to celebrate his graduation. They never imagined you'd leave over it. I felt the weight of her words, but it didn't change anything. My parents had always put Jason first, given him whatever he wanted, and now they had crossed a line that I couldn't ignore. And what about me? What did I get for graduating? Huh? A bill. A bill for their debt. I couldn't keep bitterness out of my voice. She was quiet for a moment, not knowing how to respond. They didn't know how to show you. They were proud of you, Daniel. They thought you'd understand because you've always been responsible, but they were wrong and they regret it. They really do. I shook my head even though she couldn't see me. It's not about that. It's about respect. It's about how they've treated me all these years, how they've always put Jason on a pedestal and expected me to take care of everything else. I could feel anger rising, but kept my voice steady. They didn't give me a car or an opportunity, or even a proper thank you for all I've done. Instead, they gave me their problems and now they want me to fix them. Aunt Karen was silent for a long time. Daniel, I think they're finally realizing they've messed up. They just don't know how to fix it. Please come home. Let them make it up to you. I wasn't sure if I could, the emotional toll was too heavy, but something inside softened just a little maybe. I said, but they have to show me they're serious. This can't just be another excuse. If they really want to fix things, they need to prove it. Aunt Karen sighed in relief. Thank you. Daniel. I know this isn't easy. Before I could respond, she added, but there's something you should know. Jason called me too and he's been asking if you'll come back. He's not as indifferent as you think. I frowned. Really? He's actually concerned. Yes, she said quietly, but it's more than that. He's starting to see the bigger picture. He's starting to realize just how much you've done for the family and how much he's taken for granted. I didn't know what to think of that, Jason, the golden boy, realizing his actions. It sounded too good to be true, but maybe just maybe things could change. Still didn't know if I was ready to go back, but had a feeling this story wasn't over yet, and in our next conversation would hear something that would push me to finally make a choice. If the days passed as I stayed in my little Airbnb, sorting through thoughts, still refusing to call back, but then something unexpected happened. It was Thursday evening when my phone buzzed. I didn't recognize the number, but answered. Anyway, Danny, it was Jason. Yeah, I replied coolly. Jason's voice shook, and there was long pause before he spoke again. Daniel, I'm sorry, but things got worse. Mom and Dad, they didn't listen. I tried talking to them, but they're stubborn. They kept insisting they'd manage, but now they've had to sell the car. My heart sank, but part of me couldn't help but feel vindicated. They sold the car. I repeated coldly. Yeah. Jason's voice cracked. They had no choice. The bills piled up and we couldn't keep up with payments anymore. They sold it to cover some of their debt. It's gone. I don't know what to say, man.